Welcome, Atlanta United family, to another episode of Resurge The Spike ATL. Here with one of our hosts, Tommy, and our weekly guest that we have for today, a familiar face, Tyler Pilgrim. You can follow him at ATL Pilgrim, and you can also follow Tommy at Let's Go Ducks 96. Also, don't forget to follow Fila Sports Podcast, YouTube, Facebook. You can find us on there, and for you guys that are into gambling, you could use the code Fila SP for 100% deposit match on Price Picks for you guys that like to gamble, bet money, the ones that have money to gamble. So, or where
Don't
it's
bet on
legal,
Atlanta United.
or
Ever.
where it's legal, because trust me, I would do it, but it's illegal here in South Carolina, so I'm not able to.
It was also illegal for Calvin Ridley, and look what happened to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So just be careful with that, guys. We don't want you, losing your car, losing your house at the end. Just
Don't get
play it
addicted.
safe. Yeah.
Losing a $10 million contract because you gambled and it was against the rules in the NFL. Whatever.
Yeah. There's some couple guys here on the comment section already, Josh and Sylph. Uh So, guys, basically, we're out the playoff race with, before even coming into the session day, which is a big bummer for Atlanta United. I mean, 2 out of the last 3 years, you're out of the playoffs. You arguably had a better team and a better roster, even with injuries. I mean, you're still able to like have some type of balance. I mean, after August defensively, but it still wasn't enough. Like you still had just poor mistakes as a team and individually that eventually ended up costing. Just you get a draw here and there. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't, going back to a specific, situation, but
Miami.
there was certain games where you're like you could have got a better result than what you did. So
Don't do that.
Cincinnati.
Like, you go back and look at all those games. The Cincinnati game where you outshot them like 100-6. Yeah, and then the Miami game, like it was like a span of like 3 games where like you had like some of the most shots you like ever had like on this team, and a goal just didn't go in for whatever reason. The Brooks Lennon penalty that happened in the box that didn't, like, don't do it to yourself. Just don't do it. It's depressing going back and thinking that. The Philly game, where we, dominated them the entire game, where we should have won 3-0, and it ended up being a 0-0 draw.
It goes back to the whole, like, you can't win the league in the first 10 games, but you can absolutely lose it. And this is like the perfect example of that. And it's frustrating.
Everyone knew that the schedule was really easy early on, and it was going to be very hard. And I guess you feel a little bit better that prior to this terrible game that we just watched over the weekend, they started looking a little bit better. I mean, that was good. I mean, obviously the international break came at the wrong time for this team.
yeah, seems a lot of people. Seems like everybody's pretty much in the same boat. Like, we're pretty much a mess right now, and something has to, get fixed eventually. Something that like really brought my attention, and we were just talking about this before we came on. Sam Jones, he came out with a couple of stats, basically on the defensive side for Atlanta United, and it's pretty intriguing. Just a couple that I'm gonna point out right now. Atlanta United allowed 12 goals from crosses, ninth worst in the league. And it actually improved once Parada got there, because that percentage was higher. Like it was worse basically than whenever he first arrived. And Atlanta United allowed 6 goals from penalties, fourth worst in the league. Allowed 11 goals from set pieces, 6 most in the league. Allowed 13 goals inside the 6-yard box, third most in the league. We're talking about we're leading every single aspect of like the defensive side, and not the good aspect, not like the least goals allowed. And something that also that he pointed out, which is very true. I mean, the fact that Atlanta United are always giving up the first goal, you always have to come back and, just basically push harder, and defensively, teams have gotten better as much as, we want to, play sometimes, that fast paced transition and everything. It just defensively, I feel like teams have somewhat gotten better at, defending that.
I mean, we all, a lot of Sam stuff that he wrote on the striker was a lot of things we already knew, right? Like we complained about Alan Franco all season, like his individual mistakes. And when teams score first, in a sport, I'm a big hockey guy, and there's been teams throughout, since I've been watching, that are teams that historically allow the first goal, and they're the players. It's weird that they don't talk a lot about it in soccer, but they'll talk a lot about it in hockey. But it's waking up and being ready for the game, and it always just seems like the players are sleeping. And really, I don't know if it's really been addressed that much. Like I listen to a lot of post games, and it seemed like it was just something that really wasn't talked about, or Pineda pushed it off. But that's a player mentality for sure, that you have to be ready to start those games. And like it was just absolutely ridiculous, some of the games that are like they almost tried to be like a football team where they try to telegraph the beginning of a game, and it immediately went wrong for them always within the first 5 minutes. And I mean, I think there was a span of like 5 games where in 4 out of the 5 they allowed a goal in the first 5 minutes. Like that's on the players. It seemed off for a very long time, and that did seem to get better as the season went on. But we led the league. I think we ended up finishing, or I guess the season's not over, but I'm pretty sure we're first in the league in like allowing goals in the first 15 minutes.
Well, I think that's a lot of it too, though, is you've got a team that it's easy to blame Pineda for a lot of things, like starting Ronaldo Cisneros and a few other decisions. But I think if there's one thing that you really want to hit Pineda on, it's going to be the culture. Like I think somebody said it in the comments, but like you can't come out every game, like you said, Tommy, and give up a goal and expect in MLS especially to be able to come back from it. I still am a firm believer that the best style of play for this league is absolutely counterattacking football, because the everything about this league does not reward you being able to put together a team that plays possession-based soccer. Not that that's a bad thing. Not that possession-based soccer is a bad thing, but like it's one thing if you're playing in the Premier League or the Bundesliga or whatever. Like there's places that you can make that work because you have the talent. You just don't have the talent in MLS. Like as good as it's getting, it's still not there yet, and it's probably not going to be for a while, especially if you're only going to allow 3 DPs at a time. And there's talk about, maybe being a 4th, which I'm sure that's a topic we'll hit on. But like you can't also try to force your team that you have that has a specific set of talents and have them do something completely opposite. But more than anything, like the coach has to be able to come out and, dude, pick up a chair and throw it in the freaking locker room every once in a while and piss somebody off. Like, don't come out there asleep in every match. Don't come out like you don't want to be there. Like the same thing I tell my 12U team, like wake up, and they just
yeah, but you got a red card. You got a red card, so don't.
I did get a red card.
Wow.
Respect the rest, bro. What are we doing here?
Hey, man, I'll take that, honestly. That's the type of attitude I need.
If I could wear the necklace.
You threw a table at a kid.
Wow.
Almost threw a table at the ref. But, man, give me that locker room one day. I'll fix all these freaking problems.
There'll be chicken and rice everywhere.
That's right, dude. I'm throwing all the food. Screw it.
Yeah, it's just vibes,
Yeah,
they got to get that down. It's not fun enough, dude. I don't know
about the 4th AP. I mean, that there's been talks about that. Since I see a lot of people on the comment section, bringing that up. It's gonna overall. I feel like it's gonna help the league, but it's just personally, I feel like whether Atlanta United are able to really find a right fit for, whoever, if this fourth DP situation, ends up happening eventually. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff up in the air, whether players like Moreno come back, Almada come back, Josef comes back, which that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest decision in the front office or, historically that this franchise or the club has made, basically. So I don't know about you guys. I mean, I just, with this front office, I don't know how that fourth DP would fit in, basically. We're all excited about having Josef, Moreno, Almada, and all these guys, playing basically together all at once. And when they did, they looked lost. They looked like they were never in sync. And I mean, I just hope that if it does happen, they're able to bring in the right personnel, basically.
Well, I think do we all just agree we're not going to talk about this crappy game? I guess we should probably start there because I don't know if anybody actually wants to talk about this game besides the
one coming up or the one where we lost.
The one that we dealt with this weekend. I mean, like I guess before we really go anywhere, like game was crap. The team was uninspired, and Josef scored a banger. End of story. Individual mistakes again, like ridiculous individual mistakes on some of the goals allowed. Did I miss anything with the game? I think we should just get past that first before we move on to the off season.
Thanks for changing topic, dude.
Well, no, but
nice
we gotta before we do that, because I now we're getting into the off season, and we way up in the comments we talked about how does Boca still here? Well, I think there's a simple answer for that. You can't get rid of Boca at this exact moment. You don't have anyone else to run this team, and right now their goal is still January 1st, right? Like their goal is to hire a new person by the new year. You can't just have nobody running the front office. I know nobody wants Boca running it, but yes, thank you, Anthony. But you have to have someone there, and obviously there's decisions that need to be made, and we don't want Boca doing it. But that was the decision by the front office. They were going to take their time, and they were going to get this decision made the right way. I'm still crossing my fingers that my hope is that as soon as the off season is over, whether it's just next week at the end of the season, maybe they've already made a decision and they'll announce it. I highly doubt that's it, but it's going to be a while, and it's you've got to think, you've got to get ready for next season. You've got a lot of decisions to make. You're going to have to pick up your options by the end, I think, after the MLS Cup's over. So you're going to have to pick those options. I don't really think that they're not going to pick up many of the options. I think Brooks is one of them. They're not going to let Brooks go for nothing. He has value in this league. So even if you want to sign him, you're going to keep him from there. But then that's really where everything else starts to become more difficult. You've got Josef. You've got your midfield that is a lot of pieces that are just overpaid right now. You've got Emerson Hyman, who was always overpaid. Even with the pay cut,
Rossetto,
it's still a lot. Well, then that's the next piece. Then you have Rossetto, who makes a ton of money. And I don't know how the front office views him, but it seems like a lot of people in the organization really value Rossetto, and it blows my mind that that's even a possible thing. And Pineda is very high on him, and I guess we've really never seen Pineda down on anybody before. But I was listening to Five Stripe Final, and Kevin Egan was all about how great he is, and he just needs better pieces around him and all that. It's no, you really need to start shedding some salary here to be able to get creative. But
he's played over 3,500 minutes and hasn't scored a single goal, and has one assist.
I thought we were talking about the New England match, Tommy, though. I mean,
shut up.
That New England match, you could sum up everything about it,
and you just
team in that one match.
Again.
Well, I meant let's just get past that now so we can just talk about the off.
No, I mean, that's what definitely, I didn't even really go into detail about it. I mean, because that's usually the first thing that we do, talk about the L that we took or the draw that we had, or whatever the case may be. But honestly, that's why I didn't really want to talk about it. But I mean, yeah, like literally, this is from whenever we played on forward, like literally, that's Atlanta. That's when Atlanta United's offseason started, and I mean, something has to. The front office, just I don't know, man. I'm just tired of repeating myself, basically. Just you, I don't know if you guys, basically heard about, just kind of going into like a different subject right now, with the Leagues Cup. I mean, Leagues Cup is something that's going to be going on next year as well, and Atlanta United have somewhat of a roster, I guess you could say, to compete in it. I mean, it's basically both leagues are going to be stocked, uh, to basically pay this tournament. So I want to get your guys' opinion on how, or how good is this for MLS or for Atlanta United? Is it for exposure? Is it just for the money? Is it what is? I mean,
I think it's great for MLS. I do find it funny that Mexico is not getting any matches. Like that blows my mind. Like you're having this big, competition, and none of the matches are played in Mexico. I think just think it's kind of weird.
We found out today that we're only hosting one match because if you're not in the top 15, you only host one match, apparently, something like that. But yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, you get lucky. I mean, you can win a couple games and then it's single elimination, which in MLS and, whatever. I mean, we're probably going to get smashed, but I think it's good if everyone gets smashed. Maybe that'll promote the league, Apple TV will be like, we need more freaking money. We need you guys to play better. But yeah, it should be good fun though.
Isn't that what the fourth DP possibly could be about? Like, I think that.
Yeah.
Like, who came up with that though? Like, who came up with that theory? That was
the theory of what?
I highly doubt that
the fourth EP
anything at all like lead to it.
Well, you got a higher contract than what you thought for your television. I don't think they were expecting the television deal that they were going to get.
True.
We've been talking about this since Leagues Cup was announced. Was this summer, right? I think that's when it was official. That with how the salaries work, there is no salary cap in League MX, and their benches are just superior than us. And we finally we have someone win Champions League this year. That's from MLS, and that's great. But historically, it's our benches are not superior at all. So I think that I don't even know who that Forbes account is that always tweets about MLS. But I think he was the one talking a lot about the fourth DP. But I think I saw another tweet. I don't know if it was from him or someone else saying there was potential about even adding a little bit more cap space potentially in to your actual salary cap, and that's probably where it's more important, I think.
Yeah,
because
that's what I was saying. I think they would do that before you add another DP. That would make more sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, adding a fourth DP would be fun. Yeah. Does it change Atlanta United stance if they added another DP?
We're winning the league.
But what would be really crazy is if you Josef, you get rid of Josef, and then Almada potentially, gets bought. You could potentially be able to buy 3 DPs at one time, which would be absolutely crazy. But just looking at this roster, I mean, we talked about Rossetto and we talked about Hyman. What about Ibarra?
Open up that U22 spot.
Open up a U22 spot, absolutely. And I think that Sam Jones said that he talked to Felipe, and you can take Mascara out of the U22 spot because he's making nothing of significance that he needs to stay in that spot. So I just think in a perfect world, you could potentially get 2 DP spots open, 2 U22 spots open, and a lot of salary. If you at least got rid of Rossetto, that's a lot of room that you could really make. And that's just if you move one guy off of that. There's potentially other guys you can move out as well, but it's an interesting situation where if you could get creative, and I don't know if I trust this front office to get creative. currently. But if you brought someone in that knows the league, and I guess that's always my worry about this team, and it's been my worry since we hired Frank DeBoer, who never watched MLS a day in his life. If you bring someone in that understands MLS, you could definitely take advantage of some of these rules and rebuild pretty quick around the talent that you do have, because this team still does have talent.
Yeah, I mean, this president's doing nothing though. Boca's still going to be VP, and this guy's not. He's going to have an Eels role. That's in my opinion. I don't think Boca's going anywhere.
That just depends on who they bring in, though. I mean,
I know, but I don't see them bringing in a league guy. That's just my opinion right now, because I feel like they're not going to really look to change that yet. But I mean,
I don't think it happens this year, though. I think that with where you're at and what the timing of all this is, you're not going to be able to fire Boca
no,
in January or in December or anything like that. You're going to have to keep him to at least, help with the transition. But then you can move on with him after you finally get like a handle on things and start, hiring people in your scouting department, your analytics department. They need to throw more money into the front office, 100%. I mean, I think that the talk has been that the analytics department is one person. Like, if that's true, that's insane. Like,
it's true.
But look at our scouting as well. The freaking Spectre's doing everything. It's honestly silly.
We're Atlanta United, and you have more resources than most teams, right? Like, right now, Seattle couldn't even bring in players at the deadline, not because of cap space, but because they were being cheap and said they didn't want to throw money in. It was financially. It had nothing to do with salary cap. So, I still hope that, Lagerway is the guy, but I don't know. He's not talking like it at this moment. He's still talking like he's with Seattle. I saw like a podcast and I listened to a few minutes of it, and like he was still talking about like being part of the future there. But I look at any high exec, and I think there's someone in Columbus too that's a potential front office person. I think that works over there. It would be a promotion for them. You want someone that comes into this league and knows what they're doing. I honestly hope. And Tyler, I was going to ask you. I know a couple months ago, Paul McDonough was like at the training ground. At least I heard talks of it. Have you seen him at all? Again,
he's been there a couple times.
Yeah, like that dude. I mean, he commits cap crimes for sure, but he's allowed back now.
He's giving LAFC some pointers right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's allowed to. His suspension's over. If there's a guy that I would want working in my front office, it's a guy that knows MLS, and that guy knows MLS. So I would bring him in immediately, and he already knows this team. So and he was working for us when he got fired. So just bring him back.
Yeah,
I think it's cool to have a 2-guy team when it comes to that, or just have more people involved. But I'll just come to the Boca's defense. It's our third manager in 3 years. I mean, what the hell are you supposed to do? That's my problem. And we're starting to go through that transition where you can already tell we're starting to bring those guys in. And I don't know. I just think there needs to be more time. There's been so much change, so much overall. We still have players who are involved in the board, players at Heinz. It's a whole crazy mess right now. And, there needs to be more time. I'll come to Boca's defense in that, but I mean, I feel like it's more of an excuse because these players are pretty shitty, and they're not being coached well. It's a whole bunch of things. I'll just come to Boca's defense because frankly, these players stink. And yeah, he brought them in or whatever, but there's been so much transition, so much of that other crap. It's honestly silly, but
Do you think Boca has an overreach on the team though?
I mean, not people.
It has to be,
so
man. There
seriously.
has to be.
He is the only excuse people have.
100%.
Scream at him. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Honestly, at this
what grade would you give him for the past? If let's just say the past 2 years, what grade would you give him from the players?
2 years, not based on performances from players before.
But
I said he had a great summer. a fantastic summer.
Why aren't we giving Pineda any credit for those players? Because I don't see a lot of credit. Like I see the
because
things,
everyone thinks it's Boca because they want someone to put their problems to.
Well, here's the thing.
But it was a good summer. It was.
Here's
a good
the argument,
summer.
though. Like
last summer was pretty good too.
It could have been a better summer if Boca hadn't put Atlanta United into a corner to where they couldn't pay for anything because of the salary cap. That's my issue. Like,
yeah,
I do agree. Like, I do think Boca is an easy one to put everything on for sure. And I mean, I think the fan base is always going to look back at like 2019 and be like, dude, what the freaking heck were you doing? And it's an easy thing. He's an easy scapegoat. I'll say it. You know, I feel like he's definitely made more harm than good for sure. It's not to say he hasn't had some good acquisitions and some good hires, but you know, you were such a bad place going into July in the summer transfer window, and it's like you literally couldn't do anything but a U22 spot and a free agent. So that's your issue. Like, you're the one that dug that hole, and now you can't get out of it because of the salary cap.
Who in God's earth would give Jurgen Damm that contract? Who in the world would give Jurgen Damm that contract?
Well, at least he's paying for good.
For his defense, bro, he's running for president in 2030. So,
oh, Lord Almighty,
paying for his campaign. That's good work, right there.
Yeah,
it's charity.
So if anything, Mexico has to, be thankful for, their future because of Atlanta United.
Jurgen Damm's going to come back here and score a hat trick next year when they play against Atlanta United.
Good. I like him more than anyone on this roster.
It's going to happen.
But I mean, you got to give Boca credit. Like, I don't think anyone on here has been completely blind to the good that he does do, and there is some good that comes in. I mean, the whole situation of moving Bello out and having successor sitting, with the New York Red Bulls was genius. Like, that was thinking forward, and it worked. And probably our second best player on the team this year. Like, that was a good plan. The summer window was almost flawless. Everything they had, but there was a lot of connection to them. That wasn't Carlos Bocanegra. It was Pineda. Like, I think that they listened to him, and that's good. My problem with Boca is, you go back, read the Felipe articles. You read about how he was talking to Jeff Lorenowitz on the bench during the MLS is back, the last game of the season, and then Frank gets fired a couple days later. You've read some stories from Doug and Felipe, and a coach. I guess I was happy when Heinze was hired because he seemed like a strong personality that someone like Boca couldn't tell him what to do, because if he told him what to do, he'd, take away his water for 6 months and he would die. But I feel like he could, with Pineda being a rookie head coach, I feel like that he probably feels like he could tell him what to do. That's just my thought. I don't know if it's true, but like, just knowing what I've read about him over the years, it definitely seemed that I could feel like that could be something that's out there. But that's what a new president coming in is going to have to do. Is going to have to watch. I mean, if you get a new boss, your boss is going to watch all your bosses and watch everybody else and see how things are working. And if it's not working out, he's going to make changes. So Boca being out, if it's going to happen, if it's really bad, I could see him out in the summer. If Boca's okay, but they want to make a huge change, then he's out at the end of the next season.
That's fair.
I think it depends too on how the Leagues Cup goes, because if they start off the MLS season and they're doing well, and then you go into the Leagues Cup and you bomb out, like, that's not the worst thing in the world. Of course, I do feel like, because we were mentioning the Leagues Cup earlier, like, that's a chance for a CCL spot, and it's a pretty. I mean, I don't want to say easy. It's not easy by any means, but there's 3 slots, so there's 3 opportunities. You make it to that third place, and you're in. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but it's there for the taking. So, like, take it seriously. But just like the Open Cup. The Open Cup to this day is always going to be the easiest way to get into CCL. And I mean, I hope they take all of it seriously. But as a league, you're gonna tell me that you're sending MLS teams with the salary cap and the 3DP, situation against a ton of Liga MX teams that are all, basically able to spend as much money as they really want to. I just have a feeling that MLS as a whole is going to get shut out of the tournament. And then Don Gruber is going to be like, yeah, maybe we should change some rules around and make it a little easier to bring in some players. I hope that's what happens for the good of MLS. Like I would much rather see that than see like Atlanta or LA or Seattle or somebody go really far into the tournament and then them not use that as an excuse to build the league up better than it already is.
I've been saying that since the minute that this tournament's been announced. I want to see MLS get embarrassed because I think that it's going to be best for the league. Because when you had the seasons where you had midweek games, there were a lot of midweek games that were just unwatchable because they had to go to the bench. They were resting guys. And when you got like late into the summer where you had, 3 midweek games in 1 month, those games were sloppy and they were really crappy to watch. So being able to give teams a little bit more flexibility, and there's just not a lot of flexibility, you're hurting the league, you're hurting the product, and Apple's going to want to get viewers. And I have a feeling they're going to promote this like crazy because this is like their first big jump in on sports. Baseball was okay. I mean, they've had their baseball games this year, but this is like they're all in on sports. And if this goes well, they could expand this. So they don't want this to fail. I mean, and they're producing every single game. This isn't, watching Bally's and they're just broadcasting it. They're going to be producing every single game. So MLS is going to be their baby. And Apple's going to be pushing them as well, that they're going to want this to become a top league in the world. So I think that this is a slow process of MLS changing for the better. I don't even know when the salary or the CBA is up. I know they renewed it in 2020 with COVID, but
I think it's like 2026 or something.
Yeah, like right before like right around World Cup.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But they could always change it. They could always go back. And if the league went to the Players Association and said, we want to pay players more money, they're not going to say, no, we're not reopening the CBA. They're going to go, cool, let's talk. And I think that everybody would happy. I mean, Jeff Lawrence is a huge person that has been talking about, he was I think our Players Association representative. He's been talking about it forever. He wants the players to get more money. And the mid players, the players like a Jeff Larentowicz, a Parkhurst, maybe some of these veterans are getting paid nothing. Yeah. So I think that that's where you're going to start getting more quality and being able to even bring in some players from around the world that, you could still pay them a decent penny and they're not on a TAM or a DP contract.
I think you'll see some changes regardless, whether it happens like this offseason or next offseason after, again, hopefully MLS gets destroyed in the league's cup. But Apple is bringing all this money into the league. So, and they've already said that the players are going to be getting paid more. So this is the perfect opportunity to say, hey, let's go ahead and expand even beyond what Apple's bringing in, because we already know the league's cup's coming. We already know we have to be competitive. So this is the opportunity to just go ahead and, give the players really what they deserve. I mean, it isn't that MLS is looked at as the same retirement league as it was, 8 years ago, but I mean, it's still not anybody's necessarily first choice. I mean, if you're coming from South America or Europe, I mean, you're not begging to go to MLS like to get your career started, So hopefully we'll see some kind of difference with what Apple's bringing in and the money they're bringing in, but it just seems like the perfect opportunity to actually make a bigger difference for the players and the league as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, this Leagues Cup tournament could be so jammy, though. I mean, it's like a few group stage games, and then it's like a round of 32. I mean, anyone could win that thing, honestly, if you just go on a run. I mean, a single elimination, it's crazy. And but yeah, sorry, Cap or whatever. I just want to freaking win the game or something.
I
I'm
mean,
tired.
the thing about it, I mean, going back to Chris, he said a good comment about it. Just MLS, having good infrastructure and enough money. I mean, and seriously, I mean, I feel like there's just very like teams like Vancouver, maybe the Earthquakes, teams like that are not going to be able to spend. Probably if there wasn't like a salary cap or anything like that, but you have teams like teams from New York, Miami, LA teams, Atlanta, Seattle. Those teams are able to spend money. They have the pocket to literally make the moves that they want to move or make. But I mean, it I feel like slowly. I mean, this League's Cup is basically the beginning of that shift. From going from 3 DPs to eventually, maybe having a higher salary cap, adding extra DPs, whatever the case may be. So it's honestly a step forward for MLS. As much as we may get trashed the first year or two, I mean, it's going to be for the better of the league, honestly.
And
Yeah,
you
maybe
need good infrastructure. Like, I think that's important, and you don't just want to open it up so that teams could spend whatever they want. I think that that's why people complain a lot about baseball. I mean, you look at the Yankees and the Dodgers, right? Like, they just spend as much money as they can. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But then look at even like like right now, like nothing will compare to having a good front office, and that's what's important. Look right now. I mean, there's a playoff series in baseball going on where it's like the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians. They're like the second and fifth lowest spending teams, and they made the playoffs. Like, that's impressive that they could do that in a league where crazy. I mean, I'm an Angels fan. They pay a ton of money for Ohtani and Trout. They've missed the playoffs like 7 years in a row. Like, it's ridiculous. It's you need some type of salary cap, but you also got to give them the teams that do want to spend that ability, and the teams that don't spend, the owners a lot of times will eventually bow out, because they'll get the pressure from the ownership to get out if they're not going to spend. So, but and then if MLS is worth more, right, then they might want to get out and cash out at that moment. And then you'll get somebody to come in and spend that money. But look at Columbus; they didn't spend money for years. All of a sudden, they started spending money and they win MLS Cup that year. It's a good plan.
Yep. Maybe when I get to y'all's age, it'll be better. The league will probably almost be double in growth in age that by then.
If I win.
Never mind.
Are you making an old joke?
No.
Can you drink yet?
So what do you guys think about New York City?
Can't even buy you can't even get in the club yet.
I'm 18. Just about.
The club with alcohol in it, you can't get into.
Welcome to America.
So, I know it seems kind of disrespectful just because of the fact that season technically is not over yet. We still have one season left, but
be there Sunday.
Honestly, I have tickets, man, but it's a Sunday game, and I can't miss work and driving back and forth. The other day I literally drove from Miami back and forth. Like, we drove back the same night.
Dude, screw that.
Dude, it was hell.
That's an awful.
It was hell.
Bro, Miami, damn, you drew that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like basically 17 hours, like there and back. Driving. It was worth it though, like seriously. But I mean, it's just driving, man. I do like a lot of driving throughout the day, so like I'm just over it. But like I said, it seems disrespectful of the fact that we're basically already given the season, like it's over. But I just kind of want to get some ratings from you guys, from individually, each player. I mean, we'll basically go through like the main guys, basically that played right now or have played recently.
Are we grading on a scale? Are we grading on a scale here?
Just make sure to give Tom.
Yeah, we'll go from 1 through 10. I mean, that we'll keep it that, just
Does
so
anybody
we
get
have
a
a larger range, I'm actually in the Atlanta United website right now, and the roster, the first person that pops up is Almada. What do we rate this guy? For me, he has to be 8, closer to a 9
out of 10 scale?
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to sound stupid and throw out like an A+.
Pay attention.
8.5.
James, you're spicy tonight.
Nah, I forgot it was Thursday, and then
Aaron's like, all late.
I don't
besides
know.
the suspension, besides the stupid suspension, 10.
Yeah, I would agree. Lots of joy, and Almada. More controversial, please, for the next one.
Ozzy Alonso. For me, I gotta say
all 4 games.
He's got to be closer to a 9 as well. I mean, he's one of the guys that, but we just didn't saw him at far enough. He just gone too soon, man. Damn ACL or what are you gonna? I think it was his ACL, right?
Poor guy.
I give a 7.5. I mean, there's something to be said. You played 4 games and we won 3 of them. I mean,
Sosa Alonso
midfield we won at the end of the season.
Yeah,
he was unique in the midfield from all the other people, all the other players that we had. All the midfielders we had, he was unique. He was also the oldest by 30 years, and he was still the best.
Crucial in the locker room too, though. Got to give him that.
Yeah. Yeah,
He'll
like
be
right off
year.
the bat, like he really showed his veterancy, just everything overall. Now what about Araujo?
7.
We went from
He's better
top
than what people say, because people don't watch the game.
We went from the
They
top
sit
to
on
the bottom
Twitter,
real quick.
They don't know ball. Araujo played pretty decent this year. He underperformed to his value, of course, but he was pretty decent. He was getting assists. It's just the shots were kind of killer, I think.
Kind of.
I gotta give him. Yeah, I mean,
if we're talking about him playing on the right, I'd give him like a 2. On the left, he's a solid 5.
I give him a 7.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody's in like the like 5 scale Josh is talking about 4. Yeah, I'll give him a 5. I don't think that I don't know. We just were so overhyped with him, last year. Against Cincinnati, Orlando, he had those crazy, goals, solo runs and stuff like that. So then after that injury, first game of the season, like he just fell off pretty bad.
We called him MVP. Nah, he's a 1.
I was like literally, I was like,
we thought
like,
I wrote an article about it on January 1st. Like, I'll look like
he was MVP.
There's something to say about someone that gets in scoring. Like he was in a ton of scoring opportunities. Like he was there, he just couldn't finish.
Yeah,
that's why he got a 4. He would have got a 1 for me if he wasn't in scoring opportunities.
Well, we didn't really see or haven't seen much of him lately, but George Campbell, at the beginning of the season.
I saw him at Ponce. He was eating breakfast. Sorry. I'm not used to being in town. So I was eating breakfast and I saw him and my wife goes, "Who's the hot tall guy?" And I'm like, "That's George Campbell." Yeah.
You say what's up?
I didn't go say hi. I didn't want a fanboy.
That's my guy.
You gotta go say hey to him, man.
Yeah, fake fan. What, George is what, 20, 21?
21.
I'll give him a solid. I don't even care. I'll give him a 6. It's just that Austin mistake was absolutely.
I give him 5.
His passing is poor for a player who's a so-called CDM.
I would have gave him a 6 last season, a 6 or 7 last season. I really liked what he did last year.
He's a good bench defender, but Pineda never subs on defenders, so we never got to see him.
Because we're always losing.
Well,
I give him a 5.
I think everybody's pretty much on the same page about him.
5.
He's the future.
Oh man, y'all gonna love this one. Y'all gonna love the next one. Cisneros. I gotta give him a 6, man. I don't think that he was bad, but I mean, he was. I mean, one of our top scorers this year. I mean, he definitely could have gotten into better positions. He definitely could have had better touches that could have led probably to him being in better scoring positions as well. So I gotta give him a 6.
None of those goals were good. Like they were just goals.
I give him a 4. But like, because James, I know where you're going. Like,
that's
He-
Chicago.
he
At
would've
least he
been-
scored goals, James.
he would have been a
Unlike the
6,
boy,
maybe a
Arujo.
7. But you get, as a professional soccer player, you get 2 or 3 points taken off because you can't have a first touch.
I have a better
Like,
touch than him. Easy.
Dude, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't do that at this level. You just can't. For somebody that gets maybe 20 touches a game max, you can't have 18 of them suck. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
He was
I
the
just think
best
his
backup
rating-
striker besides Tito in Atlanta United history. Right? Right?
So far, yeah.
I mean, look at the shit we've dealt with for years before.
Kubo.
Kubo, Adam John, like
Kubo was class. If Kubo got the minutes of Cisneros this year, he would have dropped 10 goals at least.
I need normal James back. I don't need today's James. This James is too much.
Bro, what do you mean? Dude, Kubo Torres he was class this season for
You didn't wear the jersey.
You don't watch the USL, you wouldn't know. He was class.
Yeah,
that
the
Martinez
Orange
attitude
County.
on him
I
today.
do. Yeah, he's decent for Orange County.
He's a baller, man. Dude, the USL it's up there, man. They played on a baseball field, I think. Something like that.
Now we got the next guy also for Dwyer.
Dude, he gets a solid 8.
0, overrated. He's
Whatever.
ugly.
I gotta give him a 5, man. I mean, I don't think that we saw the best of him, but he gave, his best while he was out there. I mean, I'll give him that. He was definitely, I guess showing some type of different attitude whenever he was on the field, other than the guys that were on there. So
Dude, I'm still going up there. I'll die on that hill. I give him an 8 all day.
Total
Freaking
5
attitude that we were talking about earlier.
hey, he's right with you. Josh is with you.
Say thank you, Josh.
Y'all are
That's
just
what I'm saying.
attracted to him.
And he's still, I think, per 90, still the best goal scorer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give him a 6. He's a vibes guy. He's cool. He's not cute though.
Yeah. Now we have Alan Frankel. What about him?
We're talking about first half or second half?
8. 8 out of 10.
I gotta give him a 6 as well. I mean, just because of the fact how poor the beginning of the season was for him, but eventually
Have a competent partner for half of the season. We can't be saying this.
yeah.
Just because George Campbell does not know where he's running doesn't mean it's Alan Franco's fault that he has to be at the back handling everything else that he's doing.
Who was his partner against in the Colorado game?
Dude, I'm just
Where he
saying
allowed
that game.
all the goals that went in were because of him individually.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That game doesn't count though. I mean,
Because you can't play a half a season. Because he's
5.
done it both years. Like,
8.
you play half a season.
8. Get out of here.
Oh, my
Get-
God.
good
Oh,
value.
wait, he wasn't here when we were talking about Sam's article or whatever, saying the most goals allowed by an individual player was Alan Franco. Show up to class early and you'll know these things.
I bet you no. No, Sam was definitely lying about that. did Sam assign a fault to every single goal? Because
Yeah, that's actually what he did.
no, get out of here. You can't assign. I bet half of those weren't even remotely his fault. I'd have to look at that. Sam's my guy though. But...
Do your video review. I'm excited for it.
No, I'm not doing a video review. I'll let him stick to it.
Underachiever.
Next, guys, we have Gudinho. I mean, we barely got to see any of him. Just 5 games, something like that. I mean, it was just he really didn't got tested, and I mean, I think he hasn't conceded an open play yet, has he? I think it's all.
Did he make a save?
No, he did.
He made a couple
in, last week or this past week.
Never
I didn't
mind.
watch
Yeah,
that
you're
game.
right. You're right.
I mean, he had the first 2 matches he played where he got destroyed by penalties. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you can't fault him for that. I mean, I'd give him a 7. I mean, of course, it's not like there's a lot to compare it to because the goalkeeper position.
Also, Alan Franco had freaking Shuttleworth and Rocco Novos in net for him for more
He
than
had Gazan too, though.
Yeah, for that Colorado game, Guzan was still there. Yeah.
Don't act like Guzan's much better. I mean, oh my gosh, he's
comparatively
really
speaking-
gonna start next year with a freaking torn knee at the age of 85. It's just not gonna go well. I can't be asked, bro.
No, I give Godinho a 7.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. He didn't do anything, so it's fine.
Yeah,
You guys talked me
sounds-
into a 7, yeah.
Yay.
We have Gutman next.
10. I guess I can't really
Yeah.
rate him higher than Almada, but whatever.
I'll give
No.
him a 9. I don't think nobody was perfect this season.
No, you're right.
But yeah, I'll give him a 9. I think he was probably top 3 players for Atlanta
Oh, so
United.
we're only
this
doing
season.
second half, are we?
Remember when he couldn't
Gutman
score
could
in the
not
first
finish
half
for
of the season?
Crap, he couldn't buy
There was
a
like
goal
a couple
in
like
the
where he
first
was
half
like
of the
wide.
But
open
he's
in
a
front of the net.
that's the thing though.
He couldn't
I mean,
buy a goal.
That's what
His
made it
finishing
more
was
impressive for him
terrible.
whenever he
Worse
came
than
back
Bello.
after the injury that he had, and he had that little scoring streak. Is the fact that we were so used to him missing, but the fact that he was even able to get into those positions, being a defender, it was like pretty incredible. So I mean, some of those goals were actually resulted in wins for Atlanta.
That
United,
Seattle one, that first big one, man.
I was at the Cincinnati game.
That was
when he
crazy.
scored. I'll give him an 8. I still respect him, but still, we're just being clear here. We're being a little bit biased, but it's fine. It's okay.
I mean, biased because he actually
he was good the whole year.
He was
fantastic at defending at least the whole year, not attacking the whole year.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, he.
I'm just saying.
I agree. He could not buy a goal for the first 10 games of the season.
I'm just being controversial. It's fine. Sorry.
Man, the next 3 guys is just we got Ronald Hernandez, Hyman, and Ibarra. I think those all pretty much get the same a 3.
I would be cool with Hernandez if he wasn't taking up an international slot, but
yeah.
Other than that, yeah, he's got to go. But he's a good national team starter. I mean, was he bad? Yeah.
I mean, defensively, he
was good during our good stretch of a couple games where he put Lennon on the wing. He was pretty good. But I saw him. He made a good challenge in the New England game from what I saw in the highlights, but that probably doesn't say
he got better as the year progressed. After his injury, he started the season, and I was like, dude, come on, what are you doing, man?
We could keep him around, but with the international slot, it's kind of it's a little poopy. But.
Ibarra had a good run of games there for a little bit. I really thought that he was improving there for a while. I think that, because Sosa wasn't even playing, there were some games where we were talking on Spaces where people were like, is Ibarra better than Sosa? And that was a hot take, obviously. But there were a span of 3 games where he was doing really well. But
and then he forgot how to run.
Ibarra would get early yellows, and then he would just completely go bad. And I think he's the opposite of Franco, where even some of the games that he came in later in the season, he was just worse. He started off much better. He started off got a little bit better, and then he just really kind of went downhill from the performances. And then that's why he's got to go this offseason, because now that Sosa's back and he seems like he's healthy, it seems like that there's no reason to have another young midfielder in that position.
I just thought he was non-existent all year. I couldn't really notice him. But yeah, he had that one good game, and that's about it. Yeah, we should move him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget the spot. Both spots.
Yeah. Next we have Brooks Lennon.
Ooh, this one's rough. Ooh. The analytics would say he's an 8.5.
We should keep him around.
Yeah,
analytics loves him. He's an analytics darling.
7.
I give him a 6.
6.
6.5.
What Doug tweeted out earlier this year, Brooks Lennon plays perfect balls, but no one's there. I believe that. I stick to that. I think. There's no.
That's an arguable point. I mean,
that Josef thing was across from him, right?
It was, but
I don't-
again, how many people are scoring that goal?
Well, he's tried it for
For
6
me,
years.
just
Right.
just
Yeah,
James
yeah.
and Joseph. Just James and Joseph.
He had to hit
They're
it
the only
once.
ones that could do that.
He waited till his second last game. Actually, no, he's staying for 2 years because this front office. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll
Cut
get to
the
it.
feed. Cut his feed.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Keep moving.
Man, next guy. I don't know if Silva's in here, but it was Eric Lopez. I mean,
Why are we even? What are we doing?
Jail.
Never mind, guys. Now we have Josef Martinez.
Okay, let me get the floor. This front office is too pussy to let go of this guy. I'm telling you that. He's riding out his contract. They are too scared, and they will never do it. They will never let him go. They will not let him go this year. 100%. If they let him go this year, I will do nothing. But I'm telling you, they're not letting him go. They're too scared. They're not going to do it. And I don't care about this fake meeting that Felipe made up about the front office. That's all fake. That's another Boca theory.
So I was just listening to Felipe and Stu Holden talking on some podcast, and I was just listening to them talk or whatever, and they asked Stu if they would trade Josef Martinez this offseason, and he said yes. And I think that the couple, obviously Josef scored with Venezuela, and then he obviously scored that banger. I think that has possibly increased his value a little bit. I think that whatever you can get to create a spot to get a player that is physically able to play 90 minutes, that's the guy that you go and you make a move for. I think you got to move him. I think you get some allocation money for him, whatever. Just do what you can and move on with him. It's not like I sit here happy that I make this decision. Again, Atlanta United was the first soccer team that I've ever liked. So he's like my favorite player of all time. But eventually you have to say that there's time to move on from him. And even if he is okay, the front off, it doesn't seem like Pineda trusts in him. And if Pineda doesn't trust in him, then what's the point of having him? Even if he can do it, if he goes somewhere else, I'm still going to root for the guy. But if the front office doesn't trust him, salary cap wise, it doesn't make sense to hold on to a guy like that.
Every time he puts on the shirt, he thinks of you, Tommy, and that's what you do to him. Nobody wants that contract anyway. We're not gonna trade him within the league.
I mean, and this is something that
there's only one team stupid enough to take that contract, and it's us.
This is the thing, though, and this is with that whole theory about the whole fourth EP being added. I think it was Rob Usury, I think that's his last name. He tweeted it out, and it was like, that kind of could happen. Like the fact that there's another DP getting added maybe next season. The fact that Josef may still sign as a DP, but I think that's like a slim chance, honestly. But the realistic, it's more realistic that if something is actually happening between Pineda and Josef, outside of the tactical aspect or whatever the whatever the case may be. I think that his best case scenario is get a TAM deal. I mean, I don't think that nobody would or not many people would be mad at it, but I don't know. I just don't think that Josef is also the guy to be your starting forward next year. I definitely don't think that
That's
either.
my only issue with Josef, though, is because I love Josef to death, but you're not. I understand the goals per 90 minutes and all that, but if you've got a garbage attitude at the training ground and you're doing all this and that and not being a part of the team, you have guys that are coming to this team and coming to this league that look up to you. Some people come to this team because of you. Whether you like it or not, man, you're a leader and you got to act like it. So, I mean, if we're still talking about the numbers, that I give him a 6 just because of a sheer, he's going to score goals because of who he is. But I think it's frustrating because you look at Josef and you think, dude, if his head was in it the whole year, if his head was really in it, think about how many more goals he would have scored. We probably wouldn't be having an argument because I really don't think it's his knee. I just don't. I don't think he's incapable now of going a full 90, or at least most of it. I think it's a mental thing. I think he's pissed off at the front office. I think he's pissed off at the way the season's gone, and he can't get out of his funk. And it's frustrating because you know how much better he can be when he has his mind in the game.
I think there still is a partial trust on the knee. I don't think it's I don't think it's as big. It's a huge part of it, but I still think that there's definitely a part of it. And overall with the knee, but I just think you have to move. Even if it's a TAM player, like you really, with the rules that we've been talking about this entire show, like you have to optimize your money. And with Josef, even if he is a super sub or whatever, he's not going to want to be a super sub. If he's still feeling the way that he claims that he did after the break, after he came back from the surgery, and I think it was like after the American Family Insurance Cup or whatever, he said, I'm rejuvenated and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's a guy that wants to start, and there's always going to be drama when someone's starting in front of him. And that's just drama that you don't need in the locker room at this point. I do think that he could potentially, and from my understanding, you know, they could renegotiate contracts. There could be a situation where Atlanta could discuss with somebody like, hey, would you take on Josef Martinez? And then they pre-talk about a renegotiation of the contract prior to them making the trade. And then he just renegotiates the minute he goes with another team. I could see that happening. Like that's that. If anything, I don't know if anyone would take him as a DP, but I think there was another DP from Chicago today that was reading that like they took his contract and put it into, instead of one, he was a DP and they took it into 2 years. So he's not a DP player. I could see them possibly doing that, but like negotiate, he could like do a pre-negotiation prior to the trade.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if I took a percentage, I'd say it's 25% that Josef Martinez is with this team next year.
I say he goes silent and he shows up for training in January. They're too scared. They're not going to touch him. They're going to save it for later.
yeah, I'm with Tommy on that one. I say 25%. He's also in the team next year, but
75.
next guy that we have on the list is, god damn it, I lost the damn thing. I think it was Aiden McFadden.
He's a solid.
We gotta give him a 7. I mean,
too
far.
Come on, man. That's literally like some of the highest that we've had so far.
Right, but that's extremely high. I mean, for a guy that, you know, I mean, he was young. He definitely made some mistakes. But I mean, for a rookie, for someone that didn't have any minutes, I think that he performed well. I mean, if we're trying to stay in the same course of what we're overall trying to do here, I would say that he was above average, and I'd say he was a 6, which is good for a rookie. I think a guy that's had limited minutes, I'd give him a 6.
This may be, I don't know, this might be a hot take, but, and I'm not saying this is a comparison between the two, but for this team this season, I think he fits the team better than Lennon did. Personally, I just think he's a more dynamic player, which is what the team was looking for on that side.
No comment.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say what you're. I'm not 100% agreeing, but yeah, I get what you're saying with that, because I did see some. I didn't really see like anything, you know, offensively missing, you know, from whenever Aiden was or McFadden was there. But
so, what did you want to give? What did you want to give McFadden? I'm sorry.
7.
I said 6.5.
Okay, 7. Okay. Because then and sorry, Ariel, I'm going to jump ahead here, but like, because I think they're in a perfect, like they're perfect to top back to back. Well, Caleb Wiley, did we already talk about him?
No.
Okay, so. Oh, sorry, this is my bad. But like, I think they need to be talked together. So if you're giving a 7 or a 6.5 to McFadden, then what are you giving Caleb Wiley?
Same thing, literally.
You're giving him a 7. Wiley's an 8.
I'll say
exactly. I'm with James here. Like you have to give him a much better a better number, and like you can't go. I wouldn't give Caleb Wiley like an 8. I would give Caleb Wiley, like if I'm giving McFadden a 6, I got to give Caleb Wiley at least 7.
I mean, you could see his electricity. You could see him on the pitch, like going forward. The defensive errors or whatever. But I mean, if we're looking at the age of McFadden as well, I mean, Caleb Wiley was freaking everywhere, and that's why
Got a higher ceiling for sure.
I don't really remember Aiden McFadden in the attacking, but my brain just might be dead. But I just don't remember.
We have Marcelino Moreno next.
I don't know.
I gotta say a 5, honestly.
I'm gonna go with a 7.
I think he's still good. Like, he's a great player, but it's just, with Pineda, it's just not working out anymore. He's a fantastic player, though. But he's not going to be here next year. He
was our co-MVP last season with Barco.
Yeah, you get an extra 2 points for single-handedly winning the DC game.
Yeah.
You were talking about all the ones that we lost or should have won. He's the only reason that we won that game.
He was the only reason we won the Charlotte game. That insane assist that he made over to Marini, I think it was.
He's a 7 all day.
And he had one bad shot against Red Bull, and then he just doesn't see the field.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic player. He's great value, and you can move him. But
I mean, the dribbly drib boy. But like, I want to hear Josh. So Josh, while we discuss maybe even more players, I want you to give us a well-crafted 2-paragraph essay on why you gave Moreno a 2. Josh's current, James is in school, so he will grade this. And English and punctuation does matter. We will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, sure, if Almada leaves, you can definitely bring Moreno back. Actually, no. Pineda hates him, so there's no point in having him. He's a great player. I love him. But whatever.
Now we have Mascara. We barely really got to see anything from him, but I mean,
he hasn't got my freaking dinner yet.
Because the offside goal.
Maybe, man. Maybe it comes in that last game.
Columbus. Fantastic goal. Offside.
Beautiful.
Get out of here.
It was not offside.
VAR Columbus, man. It's so stupid.
I give him again, like you said, there's not much to look at, but maybe I'm a little, I don't know, probably giving a little more credence to like somebody that comes in and acts like they want to freaking be here. And he gets an extra point for me because of that, but I'll give him a 7.
He responds to me on Twitter, so we're bros.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, he responded to both of us on Twitter.
He responded to me more, actually. I told him to do the samba, but he hasn't scored yet.
Oh, I hate you so much today. Oh, God.
I think, honestly, a quick side note, I hate every single Eastern Conference team, by the way, now. I hate them all. I've gotten to beef with every single team on Twitter. I just hope the West wins. I don't care if it's LAFC. They can win.
Which one do you hate the most?
Philadelphia FCC. Orlando fans don't exist. I don't even care about them. Charlotte, Nashville. Those are the 4 that I hate the most. They're terrible.
Joshua provided his paragraph here.
I'm so excited for Philadelphia to lose. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be
Marcelino Moreno gets a 2 because he was a projected starter and he ended the season as a bench warmer. He's the reason why we had to buy Edwin when Moreno got his chance. He didn't capitalize.
Yeah, but Moreno's not a winger though.
You didn't spell out 2, so
yeah, I give this a D plus at the best.
That's an A.
Or as Josh says, I would give this paragraph a 2. So
they'll get all in this, man. He just spent all this time writing all this out.
Yeah.
And then he gives him an 8. Get this out of here.
Oh my gosh. You don't know.
I'm so angry. Oh, damn it.
Oh man, we're gonna love the next one. Our boy Rossetto.
God almighty.
You know what? 1. I'll be harsh. 1. He stinks.
Yeah, man. I don't even know, man.
Absolute.
I can't believe he was a captain. Everybody was a captain this season.
Alan Frank was actually a good captain, but I mean.
Oh Jesus! Oh, I hate this.
You're not in the locker room, Tommy. You wouldn't know.
You weren't in the locker. The only one that's in
Me
the
and
locker room
Edwin
is
talk all
Tyler.
the time, and he tells me Alan Franco is such a great captain.
Oh, can I just go watch She-Hulk right now?
Come on, man. Just push it through, man. Just a couple more.
All right, let's go.
Oh, man. Next one. And next one's like, even worse. Rocco.
5.7.
I give him a 5. Yeah, like
Yeah.
5.7 for his height.
he honestly doesn't deserve as much criticism as he's gotten.
No, I agree.
Some of it, absolutely, but
He's not 5 feet tall, but we'll give him a 5.
the dude's 5'11". I know for a fact.
I'm 5'11". Get out of here.
Now, Sadich, guys.
You're short. Sadich, 9.
I got to give him a 6, man.
I give him a 6.5.
I give him 7.
For the $65,000 we pay him, he's a 10 out of 10.
He is a legit deal, for sure.
And
my wife is like in love with him. She goes, "Oh, the pretty boy's coming in," so I got to give him an extra point for that.
If we're talking looks, yeah, but I mean, he's definitely a good depth piece. So
we're heading into the last, basically 2, yeah, because we kind of already talked about Wiley. So Sosa.
8.
7.5.
Tommy, you hate Sosa. You were crying about his fake sickness for like half of the season.
Fake sickness?
This sports hernia.
No, sports hernia was last year. Pal.
Yeah, but you were talking about it this year. So.
No, there was.
I was just talking that if he's not on the field, that obviously hurts, and the front office didn't help with just really not giving any updates at all. Like it almost just seemed like he just wasn't playing.
They never give updates. Like, what happened to Hyman? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
That's a player we've got to talk about.
Man dropped off the face of the earth.
He had nose surgery.
He was supposed to be back a month ago.
That's messed.
I have a big nose. I can say it. Whatever. Get out of here. Don't act like that's the worst thing I've ever said.
Yeah.
Canceled.
No, so there was a point where on our show, like we were talking, I was even saying in the summer transfer window, like, is it going to be Sosa or is it going to be Eric Lopez for this U22 spot? Because Sosa just freaking wasn't playing. And then when he did, like, he didn't look like he was comfortable. But comes back and he's probably been the best player in the last third of the season on the team. One of anyway.
Such a good goal.
He's back to normal. He's back to early Sosa that we saw last year. We really don't know when the sports hernia started hurting, and obviously his play really went down, especially after Heinze left. And there were
also ran the dog piss out of him last year too.
They did. And if you're not well hydrated while you're running like that, it hurts. So
they get the right guy in with him. Man, he's gonna be up there.
That's a good midfield. That's a really good midfield for sure. 100%.
Did we? No, I don't think we ever got to see Sosa and Alonso together, did we?
No, I mean, maybe for like 20 minutes.
I don't think he played until what, like.
Yeah, Sosa didn't play that first game, or like
he didn't play like the first month and a half. I don't think.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish we had Nagby. Oh my goodness.
All right, guys, Shuttleworth.
Oh man.
We got to say it.
Did he make one
that
save?
Guy was the worst. I mean, he's worse than Adam John. Like, that's at that point.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
He's one of those guys that are just well off, not remembered, honestly. The last one that I had on the list here was Parada.
You guys go.
I gotta give him a 6.
I mean, are we talking about the defensive Parada or the
defense?
The whole package, baby. The whole package.
I mean, we're talking about defensively. I think it's
you gotta talk the whole thing. You can't just ignore.
No. I know, but like overall, like average is a 6. But if we're talking about offensively, he's an 8. But if,
I was gonna say I would give him a 7.
Yeah, I'd say 7.
He's like a 4.
you get a point just for acting like you want to be here. Like I said.
Yeah, he was pretty hyped. So yeah, I'll give him a 7. Good moments.
I think could be better with the right people around him too.
Lots of home goals to celebrate. That's good stuff. Wait, he scored a hat trick, didn't he? Oh my!
He did score a hat trick.
We used to be a real franchise.
I mean,
a header hat trick.
A hat trick?
That was like peak
what on
Atlanta
earth?
United in 2022. Center back scoring freaking
is
a hat trick
crazy.
of headers.
I mean, he's like our best. You'd say Kevin Kratz was our best set piece guy, and then it's Parada, and then maybe Barco after that. Like,
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, I mean he was it.
What about
And-
what about
and-
Guzan? We haven't talked about him.
ACL out of 10. I don't know. Or whatever.
Yeah,
he's hurt.
him or Miles. I
Poor
mean, I
guy.
can't really judge because literally they were like,
Miles was shit this season.
I mean, we
Like,
judged
yeah.
Ozzy on 4 games though.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that, I mean, Miles was under a 5 for me. I mean,
Yeah.
the limited time that we saw him, he was getting a little bit better, but like he was garbage during the SKC game. He was not very good. I think he got the red card, I think, in Colorado, like off a stupid, like he was taking dumb cards. I don't know if he was just having a whatever goal or whatever. It wasn't Gold Cup this year. Whatever.
His issue was they were getting ready to have the last bit of the World Cup qualifiers. They had that window coming up, and he played like dog crap up until that qualifier, and he came back and played better, and then he fell over. And
Still better than Brooks.
Yeah, he was not. I would have gave him a 4, just from that small sample size. And Guzan, I probably would have. The team was bad defensively, and he just wasn't very good. I would have gave him a 3 for that small sample size.
That goal against Montreal, though, where he tried to predict he would tramp it across the goal.
trying to turn around.
Totally fooled himself.
You just
Or what
killed
about
me with
the
quality?
You just
Charlotte
killed me
goal?
with that comment, bro.
That's a mess.
Pack it up.
Don't forget about the Guzan goal against Charlotte.
Oh,
I was about to say you lose a point for
he was the worst. But he was pretty. I wish we had him. Like, dude, that's bad.
No, I like
All
Guzan.
right.
I mean, even if you just for the fact that he comes back and I don't know, decides to scream at everybody, maybe he'll flip over a table next year.
I like that.
The pregame talks by Brad Guzan honestly have been better than Pineda's talk. That's all I gotta say. Apparently, whenever he's out there, like it's like I don't know. He likes a different, fire in the guys. But I don't
What do
know,
we
man.
rate Pineda out of 10?
That was going to be what I was going to say. What would you rank Pineda this season?
We figured
4.
it out. At the end of the year, we figured it out. In my opinion.
For
I
the
give
whole
him a
season,
4,
I gave him
man.
a 6.
Yeah, 6.5, something like that. Because we just didn't know like what to expect to come out, and I mean he couldn't really establish the system anyway. But yeah, he showed signs of improvement this year. But I didn't watch the Revolution game. I just felt like
The Revolution game, it seemed like they forgot everything they did in the previous 3 before that.
I mean, usually the long breaks were beneficial to us. I thought this year, especially after the AmFam Cup, that was a nice one after we beat Miami. But I mean, he's definitely someone worth keeping around, and he's not going anywhere, and that's a good freaking thing. I don't want to see another manager get fired. That's stupid.
I think you keep him at least until the end of the season coming up, the following season, and again do the same thing I said with Boca. Have the new president be involved in everything, and see how the players react to him, see how he reacts to changes. I guess I didn't. What I didn't like about him the most was like just his. I'm trying to say this in a nice way. I have a crude way of saying it. His hard on for having a consistent lineup. I think there were some times where the lineup really needed to be changed, and he didn't make that change. And I understand that you didn't have consistency most of the season. I mean, I think there was he only had 2 games. I think it was his first game, with back-to-back starting lineups was that Chicago game where Cisneros scored the hat trick was the first time. So that was great, but I feel like sometimes you need to make some changes, and I think he was scared of doing that sometimes. And we don't know what goes on in training, all the time, but I think that he took a little bit too long to move Rocco out. And I think that if Rocco was moved out a little bit sooner, we would be in a better position to make the playoffs on decision day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you take R29 out of that squad, we'd make the playoffs. But I just felt like the consistent starting of him, and we tried him on the wing that one game, and we won, and then we just kept going to that. It was just silly. I feel like that was the most useless freaking signing ever because it only
Who?
hurt us. Cisneros.
Would you? So then you are anti keeping Cisneros on a low contract next season?
I don't want him anywhere near the club, dude. Like, honestly.
Okay.
I don't want him.
Well,
in
I mean, that's
consideration.
a possibility. Like, I guess my only endorsement for having Cisneros on the team is if his contract is low and you're looking for kind of a Swiss Army knife of a guy that can potentially fill in a couple positions and he's at a low dollar value,
Yeah.
then that's maybe a reason for keeping him. But my other thing would maybe my argument to myself against that is that I think that Pineda is too likes him too much, and that he might see the field too much.
He'll end
So
up
that would-
starting again.
So that would be my. But like again, but in our situation is that likely you're finding that starter, whether it's a DP or TAM level or whatever, striker coming in to be the starter next season.
What? Who's that?
Anybody. I mean, anybody that's not Josef, Dom, or Cisneros, or Adam John, or Kubo.
I think we should get rid of Dwyer and get Kubo back, but that's a different story.
Is this how we're gonna
What's
end
wrong
it?
with this guy?
What do you mean? Well, we need more Mexicans. The day that we can get like more Mexicans than Argentines, we're ready to go.
I like this Liga MX thing, and like in the other chat I saw like, oh, like if Pineda, like all Mexican stuff like that, like
That's my propaganda.
I mean, and like someone said that like everybody that we brought in was mid. Well, yeah, no shit. Like we had no salary cap room, so you had to bring in all these guys on extremely low contracts. So what did you expect? You were shopping at Kmart. You weren't shopping at Saks. You were shopping at Kmart for all your players.
Boca really thought he could land Ben Foster on like what $70K for like just fresh off a season. Like you come straight to Atlanta. Like
Crazy.
He really thought he would get Ben Foster.
Hey man, swing for the fences. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that would be awesome though. Oh my goodness, Ben Foster.
Well, guys, honestly, we've been here more
And
than
he's
we're
tired.
usually.
Who has more road wins this year, the Falcons or Atlanta United?
Oh my gosh!
I say
hate
the Falcons, man. I say the Falcons.
I don't even know. It's just so sad that that's an actual thing that could be something.
How many road wins did we get this year? 2?
I think so.
And how
Yeah.
many road games? What, 16, 17 away games? We won 2.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the second one?
It was Orlando.
We have a DC.
Oh, DC
Barcelona,
and
Orlando,
Orlando.
by the way.
Yeah. Wow, that is fantastic.
Who? I don't know. That's the thing. I'm for real. I can't remember who the second one was. If there was.
Orlando.
Oh,
Yeah, Orlando.
that's right. Okay, yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, they were
Right.
hoping to end the playoff.
We better win the cup next year, bro. This is getting too much, man.
Hey, all I gotta say is there's got to be a sign that Brian Smeltzer and Pineda are both out the playoffs in the same year. That just goes to say next year Atlanta United and Seattle
coming.
MLS Cup.
We're coming.
That's it.
Yeah, one of them won the freaking Champions League though. So
Yeah, man,
That's
come on,
pretty
Tyler,
cool.
man, you ain't had to kill the vibe like that.
That's pretty cool. Just give me one trophy. Just give me one.
we got
We
one.
won a trophy.
God, oh, we're not doing this. It's not funny anymore. Hopefully we land Manchester City or something next year. That would be cool. Because it doesn't come with the season ticket package this year, the AmFam Cup. So hopefully they're gonna make it good.
It's gonna be Newcastle.
I hope so. I
Should
think
be.
probably.
That'd be sweet.
It would be
Yeah.
That but I mean, it can't be Liga,
Maggie's
right?
homecoming.
Right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't go Continental 2 years in a row.
That would be stupid.
That was such a wasted opportunity. But Charlotte got Chelsea on turf as well. No excuses, and we have the money for it.
You don't have Beckham as your owner.
No.
Yeah, he literally got to play Barcelona.
That's sick.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to play freaking Pachuca. It's like,
Yeah. Well,
Just wait till we play
guys,
Orange County in the American Family Insurance Cup. James is gonna
that
be there
would be
front
awesome.
row. Kubo, sign my jersey.
I wouldn't-
Kubo.
Me and Kubo are bros. You just wouldn't understand.
Does he respond
Kubo
to you?
liked my
on
tweets every time. I said if
He
Kubo
liked my
scores a
tweet.
goal, I will get an Atlanta United tattoo and I'll hide Kubo in it. And he liked it every week. Guy
Jesus.
never scored a damn
But,
goal.
this means we didn't make the playoffs, so I don't have to cut my beard. Oh wait, it
No, that was when MLS.
nah, this
got
is if you
That's
won
right.
MLS Cup.
and we didn't even get close. I don't even have to trim my beard.
maybe you know who's your MLS Cup pick? Let's do this right now. Just real quick.
Ah,
Good
Just a
one.
quick pick. And it
Austin.
can't be Philadelphia.
I said Austin, yeah.
Austin.
I don't know why, man. And I even said it whenever that guy was on here from Austin that for some reason, man, they're giving me like those Atlanta United, second year vibes for some
Yeah.
reason, man. And I just feel like they're a team that
We're
literally
playing
can
the
go
same
all the
exact
way.
style.
Yeah, literally.
I hate.
I mean,
all
you got a
these
good
teams.
fit of veteran players, newcomers. It's a good mix of of talent everywhere.
Okay, actually,
I
I
didn't
don't
even notice the Galaxy made it. Oh.
Dude, I think the Galaxy could win it. That's one of those. Where
Come on, man. Chicharito gonna miss
Actually,
those
Chicharito's
penalties.
gonna
The
making
only
penalties.
the only Eastern team I don't hate is Montreal.
I'm gonna say
I-
New York FC. I'm gonna say
Really?
the repeat.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Montreal versus LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy win. Chicharito hat trick. MLS Cup.
John's talking about
I gotta
LAFC.
John
John
gotta pick
Galler's
someone
gonna score a
different.
goal.
LAFC, yeah. I mean, I kind of hate them though. So, and plus they deserve to lose. It's a joke.
No,
If
I don't want
anything, wouldn't it like seriously? It would just be like a huge. I don't know how. I don't know. MLS, within MLS is a different story. But the fact that LAFC have 11 DPs on the field plus 3 on the bench is like, and they still, if they don't
'cause
win
they're in
MLS
LA.
Cup, it will be like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Not even
Literally.
If
against
LA
the-
loses, it's huge. Like that's a huge. This is like that would be their biggest failure of all time if they don't win. So I'm here for it. I love watching those types of teams lose.
Do you think they're
That's
like a 1 year, like this is their year or it's done kind of thing? For
for a
like
lot of those players.
near future, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I
kind
kind
of
of
thought
felt
they
that.
just threw everything at the 1 year and like going big or going home kind of
I
thing.
felt that with the Braves last year too. It was like if they're gonna win, they gotta win it this year, or else it's just gonna be done forever.
Well, they didn't even have their technically their best player last year, and that was even the crazier thing with the Braves. I mean, that was
Well, that's what
Now
I thought
they're-
about the Hawks too when they made the conference finals. I was like, dude, if you don't make it this year, you're never going back.
Yeah.
this is their year, baby. This is their year. They look
Dude,
great.
everyone's
Abu Dhabi.
feeling it today. I don't like
Abu
it.
Dhabi, man, they look great. It was the
Yeah,
best
they
day
did.
to work from home. I turned on one TV and I was like, oh, the Hawks are on, and the other was like, oh, Man U's on. I'm like, oh man. I brought the extra TV out and just sat in the living room and didn't work and just watched it.
I'm excited
I
for
got
basketball. That's something to look forward to until February.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, well, I'm gonna go watch some hockey, guys. So
Yeah. Don't
What
forget to
hockey?
follow
The-
these guys,
The Canes are killing it in preseason, Tommy. I'll tell you that. You better watch
they
out.
are.
Yeah. All right. Well, don't forget to follow these guys. Tommy, Let's Go Ducks 96, James Kyle Don't Miss 26, and Tyler Pilgrim at ATL Pilgrim. Go check them out. And thank you guys for the ones that have been here on the comment section. And hopefully, eventually we'll do something next week. Hopefully, we go out with a
Pretty big
win.
podcast.
Hopefully, we go out with a
Any
win.
day but Tuesday. I am in to talk about it.
Cool, man. So yeah, probably Thursday again. So
Yes.
all right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. And thank you for the ones that have been on here.
Yeah, we're a big podcast now.
Yeah.
Mega.
We have a lot